evening bag, honestly, I think this is a really classy choice. I don't know, I feel like this is going to be a hard bag to sell just because of that price point. Let's be honest here, guys, it does look a little bit like a brain. It's a really good price, guys, like $2,290, like wow, like let's compare that to the Chanel price. I know, guys, crazy. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. If you love shopping and handbag videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm almost at 12,000 subs, so any extra subs would really help me out. Thank you so much. Okay guys, so I think we're all aware of the Chanel Classic Flaps price increases over the last few years. They have been quite shocking, but you know, I understand Chanel can keep raising their price as long as people buy the bag, and I get it, guys. You know, Chanel Classic Flaps are very collectible. I used to have quite a few Chanel Classic Flaps. I sold them and I bought Hermes bags because that's what I was obsessed with at the time, and I definitely go through different, you know, handbag obsessions, and I've gone through a phase of collecting a lot of Louis Vuitton, and I collected a lot of Chanel, and now I'm collecting a lot of Hermes. But the Classic Flap was personally a bag that I do like the look of. I think it's extremely pretty. It's very girly. It's like probably one of the most desirable designer bags you can get. And not only that, a lot of people love collecting the Classic Flap because they like how you can style it in different ways. You know, you've got the 2 strap lengths, you've got people like the tactileness of the chain and like the puffy quilting, and it's obviously a designer bag because of the CC logo. So there are a lot of like appealing things about the Chanel Classic Flap, not to mention that well, the Classic Flap is based on the original flap bag, the 2.55 bag from the 50s. I think there is like a solid place in history, of course, for Chanel flap bags. Like they really revolutionized, I think, handbags, which is why if you're going to buy a flap bag, a lot of people would argue you have to go for the Chanel flap. But there are a lot of cons to the Chanel flap as well, guys. Like, let's think about it. The compartments, although it's cute that there's a lipstick holder and like random pockets, not everyone's going to use them. They're kind of redundant things that are part of the bag. You know, the extra flap can be a bit restrictive. I found when I had my Classic Flaps, I was hardly using them because they didn't fit like my cosmetics bag or, you know, just bigger objects. And also I didn't love how the straps weren't really that versatile. Like I'm kind of a shorter person, so I could crossbody them, but I still felt like looked a bit weird. Like, to me, the Classic Flap is a bit more of a shoulder bag, and I think a lot of people don't like the Classic Flap because you can't crossbody, which is something a lot of people love doing. Not only that, but now the Chanel Classic Flap has been, to be honest, faked a lot, so you're kind of thinking, oh, is that you know, when you're wearing it, I don't know, I see a lot of super fake Chanel bags, Classic Flaps, so that might also be a con of buying the bag. Like, why would you spend $17,000 on a bag which can be super faked for like $1,000? You know, there's that too. So I think in this day and age, we've got a lot of options, guys. You don't only have to go for the Chanel Classic Flap. That being said, if it's your dream to buy a Classic Flap, then not anything I say is going to stop you from doing that. And honestly, I'm happy I did buy Classic Flaps. I'm happy I got to experience them, and you know, if I didn't buy them, I would never know, right? So, and although I would say the resale market for Chanel Classic Flap is not as good as it used to be, you know, when you spend $17,000 on any bag, unless it's like a very desirable Birkin or something, you're probably not going to get your money back on it, which is why maybe compared to a few years ago, it's a little bit more risky to buy a Chanel Classic Flap from the boutique, because if you find it actually doesn't work for you, once you consign it, you know, the consignment store will take a cut, like 15, 20%, whatever, 30%, depending where you are. You're going to lose like thousands of dollars selling this Classic Flap. So yeah, that can be quite daunting. If you're not completely in love with it, there are other flap style options out there. So let's get right into it, guys. Firstly, I've got the Celine. This Celine flap bag, it's like a calfskin leather. Now, the pro of this is that it's much more affordable than the Chanel Classic Flap. It's currently retailing at $5,100 Australian dollars, and the thing I like about this one is that it's got the single flap, so it's probably a little bit more easier to use, and it's got the magnet, which also streamlines the functionality of it. You don't have like the turn lock situation, which is, you know, the magnet fastening is not always my favorite. I think it's a little bit can look a little bit cheap, to be honest, but I think in terms of practicality, this may be easier to use than a classic flap because it just has less fussy things about it. Now, it's still very obviously a designer bag. It says Celine on the front, so if you're somebody who is buying the classic flap for that like brand flex, which, let's be honest here, guys, like a lot of people do that. I did that at the start. I still do that, to be honest. That's probably why I put like little Pegasus on my bag so I could be like, see, Hermes, like, you know, I think we all subconsciously do that a little bit, but yeah, this is obviously a designer bag. It spells it out on the bag, which I don't really love, but, you know, that's each to their own. But, you know, upon seeing it on a few influencers, I think I saw it on, who's from Blackpink who wears it? Oh, I forgot. No, it's not Rosie. Oh gosh, Lisa. I think Lisa from Blackpink was seen wearing this bag. It seems to only be a shoulder bag, but I think that's fine because, you know, the Chanel Classic Flap, I would argue, is usually just a shoulder bag as well. The chain looks like it's pretty lightweight, so it could be a good option, right? Like, I don't know, let me know, guys. Obviously, it probably goes on sale on websites as well, so it's just a friendlier price point. Next is the Louis Vuitton Go 14 bag. It has a lot of interesting details towards it, so yeah, I didn't know much about this bag, to be honest, but Nicolas Ghesquière designed it in 2014 and he's kind of brought it back this year. I'm assuming they're trying to make it like a elevated classic. Like, I feel like it's trying to be on the same level as the Capucines because of the price point. I was quite startled by the price when I saw it on the website. So the MM is 11,400. So to be honest, I think if we're talking about if you regret this bag, if you were to sell it, I don't think you're going to get that much money back either. So, yeah, I don't know. In a way, I almost feel like if you're going to keep this bag, then it doesn't matter. But if you're comparing to the Chanel Classic Flap, it's probably on a similar level of how much money you'll lose if you sell it. But in fact, it could be worse, to be honest, because it's just, I don't think this bag would necessarily be everyone's cup of tea. But let's talk about the pros of it. It's got a detachable chain strap, which I think is quite cool. That's something that is a benefit over the Chanel Classic Flap. It also looks like you can add a top handle to it, which is also nice. So it has a little bit more functionality in terms of ways you can wear it, which a lot more people might find that more practical. Like for me, I found the Chanel Classic Flap often looked a little bit too dressy, but I find that this bag, if you just wear it with the top handle, like delete the chains, you could wear it with like track pants and stuff, right? But if you add the chains, you could wear it with the evening dress. So it gives it a little bit more diversity in terms of how much wear you can get out of it. It looks like the quilting is really nice, like very nice craftsmanship, and it seems like they're really drumming that home on the Louis Vuitton website. Now, I don't know if this is going to be like the new classic it bag. Honestly, I think that's how they're marketing it. But if you like it, then you like it, right? I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a hard bag to sell just because of that price point. Not everybody would be willing to spend that much on a flap bag. But I appreciate the craftsmanship of it. Looks like there's like leather stitched in between the quilting as well, which is an interesting touch. It's got the really big LV logo on it as well. So if you want that little designer bag flex, then this is definitely giving you that. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I do like probably the only thing I like about this, to be honest, is I quite like the chain intricacy. I think that's quite pretty, the way that they've done that chain. But overall, it's yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, right? Okay, next bag. This bag I think is a bit more left of field, but I wanted to talk about it because depending on your style, I don't think the Chanel Classic Flap is necessarily going to suit everyone. And I thought a more edgy alternative might be this Loewe bag, which is the Loewe Puffy Goya. In terms of practicality, I think this is better than a Chanel Classic Flap because it has the option of the leather strap, or you can wear it with the chain. So it's got that functionality of the interchangeable straps. It's also a super puffy, soft leather. I know Loewe really prides themselves in their leather, so I don't know. I don't have as much trust in Chanel leather the past few years. I know they used to do better quality leather, but now it's a little bit hit and miss. So I feel like with Loewe, you might possibly get a better feel of the leather when you purchase the Loewe bag. It's also like substantially less than a classic flap if you buy this bag. It's like $6,250. It's just a little bit more like quirky and modernized, I feel, like that woven texture, the puffiness. It's a little bit of a cooler bag than the Chanel Classic, which can look a little bit like, it's kind of like overdone now. Like, I think this is a little bit more like, oh, that's a cool bag kind of thing. Like, I don't know. That's just me personally. Like, I would just, yeah, it just looks a little bit more edgy in a way. So I think this is actually quite a cool bag, but I don't imagine it being the most popular. A lot of you guys have been talking about the Dior Caro bag, and honestly, I think this is such an amazing option. Look at that price, guys, like $6,400 for a flat bag. That is so much more appealing than like $17,000 for a classic flap. In Australian dollars, just to reiterate that. I know USD, the number is a lot less, but it's just, the Caro, yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, to be honest. Dior is not a brand I'm personally drawn to, but I can see why people would buy this over a Chanel Classic because it's got a removable chain, which adds some more versatility. You can clutch it, you can crossbody, it's adjustable, a little bit more customizable. Now, I don't know if this is going to be suitable for everybody, this bag, in terms of crossbody. It could still be like too short for someone who's really tall, I don't know, but there is a little bit of, you can kind of personalize the length a little bit there, which is really nice. Also, I quite like the way it opens and shuts. You've got the beautiful quilting, the signature carnage quilting, which is very identifiable as Dior, and you've got that big logo. So it's screaming designer bag, which a lot of people like, so ticks that box as well. And it comes in an array of really beautiful colors. I particularly love this grey one. I think that is stunning. And as an evening bag, honestly, I think this is a really classy choice. Like, if I went to more evening events or like balls or whatever, I would go for this bag over the Classic because it's just such a better price point. It's probably more lightweight as well because it doesn't have that double flap situation. And it's a really classy bag, to be honest. So I quite like it. I don't tend to, I'm girly, but I don't tend to wear these kinds of bags. I'm a little bit more into like the casual styles. I don't know if you can see, like, more these casual shopping bag styles. This is a bit more ladylike. It's still quite casual because it's brown, but this is a little bit more like of a fancy bag to me, but it's beautiful. Like, I don't know. I think that's probably one of the best ones out of the bunch. I would, to be honest, buy this over the other bags I've talked about today because it's pretty, right? I don't know why I like it so much. It's actually really pretty. Next brand I wanted to talk about is Laurent, and you know, I think their envelope bag is super popular. I can see that being a better option than the Classic flap purely based on the price at $4,000. Like, that is a much friendlier price than a Chanel Classic flap. I don't love the boxy feel of this bag personally, and the leather feels, it's super durable, to be honest, guys. Like, these bags are like tanks, some of these Laurent bags, like, compared to a Chanel Classic, but it does have a little bit of that like plasticky feel, which I don't like. And sometimes when I'm wearing a bag, I like to feel the leather and I like that more squishiness. So I'm somebody who would probably rather go for the Caro or the Loewe over this one here, the envelope. However, I do quite like the Laurent Jamie bag. This is a little bit more of a softer lambskin. This bag is so soft in real life, and I like the uniqueness of the quilting with these like triangular quilts. I think that's actually quite cool, and that it's a nice spin on a quilted bag. You still have the big logo in the front, which I'm not always a huge fan of, but you know, I get it. It's a designer bag, and I think that's why a lot of people prefer the Classic flap over the 2.55 because it's got that logo smack in the middle. So it's ticking that box as well, and you're able to wear this bag two ways as well, similar to a Classic flap. Now, the chain is not detachable, so perhaps not as practical as like the LV14 or the Caro because you can't take off the strap, but I think it's also a good option and a much friendlier price point, and I absolutely love it in the jersey, the grey jersey. I think this was so cute with like a fluffy knitwear or something. Like, actually, I'm obsessed with the grey jersey. I think this is so pretty, and you know, Chanel is very much known for their jersey bags as well, so I know that Laurent was probably inspired by that, and they're going for that like old school French chic vibe, which I really like. I think that looks so awesome in the jersey. And finally, wild card here, guys, Givenchy. Now, This bag, the quilting is a bit interesting, right? But, you know, I have to just, you know, talk about it today because I feel like Givenchy is a brand not many people talk about anymore. It kind of fell off the radar, but, you know, they've got this flap bag here called the 4G Soft Small Quilt Bag, and it's a really good price, guys. Like, $2,290, like, wow. Like, let's compare that to the Chanel price. I know, guys, crazy. It's got the big, okay, let's be honest here, guys. It does look a little bit like a brain, but it's kind of cool, right? I think if you have like more of an edgy style, you're not into the ladylikeness of Chanel, this flap bag might be more suitable for you, I suppose. It's got the gold chain on it, which you can wear as a shoulder bag or a top handle, and you can even add its own leather crossbody strap, so you can wear it in a much more cool, sporty way as well. So in a way, I think this is actually a better investment than the Chanel Classic Flap. I know, Givenchy's a better Chanel. Can you believe it, guys? Givenchy bags are a better investment than Chanel bags. Honestly, I think in this case it is, because look at the price, $2,000. Even if you don't like the bag, I'm sure you could sell it for like $1,000, lose $1,000. A Chanel Classic Flap, you're investing $17,000, and then if you want to sell it, you might lose like $5,000-$6,000. I'm not even joking, guys. So this, if you just want to design a little flap bag flex, it could be okay, right? Like, I don't know, am I crazy, guys? Like, let me know. Anyways, guys, for now, I just have my, this is my only flap bag. It's not quilted. I wouldn't mind getting a flap bag again. I mean, I used to have a lot of Chanel ones, but yeah, I just kind of got over Chanel. Maybe the Dior Caro, to be honest. I actually quite like it. Hermes doesn't really do a lot of quilted flap bags. I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm just not into chain bags, but yeah. Thanks for listening to my blabby video today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys on my next one. Bye!